Welcome back, beautiful soul, to the Edge of Becoming podcast. I can't believe we're already at episode 3. Time is flying. And I'm certainly not feeling like a pro, but I'm getting a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more familiar with the process. So yeah, it's been fun. If you've been here from the beginning, I want to say again, thank you. I appreciate all the love and support. And I hope the first couple of weeks have really sparked something in you. As I shared at the outset, this podcast is unfolding organically for both me and for you. I'm being surprised as to what's coming up as much as what you're going to be. And so far, I felt really called to speak about the process of dreaming bigger. And maybe it's because it's real and on my heart. Maybe it's because it's real and on the hearts of my clients. And I also just think astrologically, it's a really beautiful time to really get clear about our dreams and our desires. And I mentioned on episode 2 that when we look at the astrology and what it is symbolizing, it really is a time for new beginnings and to dream while also contemplating, how do I bring the dream into reality? So yeah, maybe that's why I've felt called to speak on this topic. But what is really important is that we can dream all of the things, but the key part is not only anchoring it into a form, like a physical form. For example, if you have a dream of building a house and you think about anchoring it into the earth, or you think about creating a business, so you have to go and actually do the things that create a structure. The thing that's really important isn't just the doing, right, and ticking off the boxes of all the tasks that need to be done. What's really important is for you to become a match to the very thing that you're wanting to create. And so, I spoke about this in last episode, that in order to build a home, we would need to become a builder. In order to be a CEO of a company, we have to become that version of ourselves. So this is where the deep, deep work is at. And it's why I really wanted to focus on this part in today's episode. And I've titled it The Breakdown Before the Breakthrough. Now, the thing about that part, and the part that most people don't talk about, is the part of becoming, where the actual work is done. It's often the least talked about part, but it's actually the most essential part, because without that, even if you call in your dreams, your desires, if you aren't equipped to hold those dreams and desires, as in you don't have the confidence, you don't have the personality, you don't have the boundaries, you don't have the skills, if you don't develop those things and therefore develop yourself, you won't be able to sustain those gifts that are given to you. So think about people who win the lottery. I think someone just recently won, 70 million, some outrageous amount of money. Now, if they don't know the frequency of money and they don't know the frequency of abundance, they're going to operate from whatever frequency they've been operating from. Now, if they're middle class people where they work and they save and they maybe invest money, they're probably going to do something similar. But what they might find is that having so much money may feel really uncomfortable. They may not know what to do with it. And often when people don't know what to do with money, they spend it. They just go and spend. It's like it burns a hole in their pocket. So if we don't have the frequency of abundance, of wealth, and we don't develop it very quickly, if we won the lottery, we would go and do things that would have us come back to whatever our wealth level is now. If we didn't develop those skills and learn the frequency of money, learn that money is safe, learn that money isn't evil, learn to love money, because many people don't. Many people have weird, toxic kind of relationships with money, which makes us sort of want to receive money, but also give it away. We look at money as though money is like the root of all evil, yet we're like, money, come to me, I want you. So we have these weird relationships with money. So if we don't do the work to up level in that example, then we wouldn't be able to sustain that level of wealth. So the same thing applies with anything that we're wanting to call into our reality. If you want to buy a house, if you want to advance in your career, if you want to draw in a relationship, you have to be the match to someone who can embody that, who can hold it. And it sounds weird, but it's like if we're not used to receiving love, love feels really freaking weird. It feels overwhelming. It can feel scary for some people. It can feel like I want love, but I'm always afraid of losing love. If you want to advance in your career, you might think, I want to be CEO, but also I'm afraid of all of that responsibility. So it's like saying to the universe, I want that, but I don't. I want it, but I don't. And so when we look at what we manifest, we'll often see it. We'll see opportunities come our way, but maybe we just keep blowing it. Maybe you keep having relationships, but you can't hold on to them because your nervous system isn't wired for it. You are not in the identity of someone who can be in a stable relationship that's really healthy. So this part of the becoming process is really critical. Like if we don't do the work, we're not going to have the thing. We're not going to have the thing that we're... So when you ask the universe for more love, more purpose, more freedom, more time, what you're really saying is this current version of my life, it no longer fits me. And it might feel like it's now too small. Maybe it feels too safe for you. It's not giving you enough of a challenge. Or maybe it just feels misaligned. Maybe something that used to feel good just no longer does. So, for example, maybe you've noticed a friend, maybe you've had a single friend and they've called in a deeply passionate relationship. And suddenly you're looking at your own relationship and realizing, hey, it's gone pretty flat. It's pretty stale. And as you notice that, you're like, I want what she's having. I want to go back to those passionate, exciting days. Or maybe you've been working in a corporate job and you've been like ticking all of the boxes and you show up looking professional, you're wearing the outfit, you're wearing the ego and the personality, but you really deeply desire to speak your truth and to bring your colorful flavor to the table. Like I remember when I used to work in government organizations and the kind of clothes that I would wear and the things that I would say and my internal dialogue about who I thought I needed to be professional. And it was like I was being this character that was outside of who I truly was. Or maybe you've just outgrown certain friendships and maybe you're noticing that conversations just no longer nourish you in the same way. Maybe you're noticing that when you're due to catch up with your friends, there's not the excitement, that you're not looking forward to spending time with them. Or afterwards, maybe you even just notice you feel drained. It feels like it was a waste of your time. The things that your friends wanted to speak about just aren't things that really resonate with you anymore. So let me just say this really clearly. It is so normal to want more. I've had clients that have said to me, I'm just being really bratty. I'm being really selfish. Maybe I'm just ungrateful. No, this is the feminine nature. And of course, we all have feminine energy within us, whether you're born in a male body or a female body. The feminine essence knows that so much more is available. The feminine knows that life is abundant. And so then she says, show me more, right? She's inspired to have more in life. So it's completely normal to no longer feel aligned to the life you have. Yeah. Just like toddlers grow out of their clothes faster than we can keep up with, we also grow out of the lives that we've built based on an old self, an old identity, an old version that once dreamt about the things that we now have, right? That's aligned to a past version. But when it doesn't feel good for us anymore, that's simply our soul telling us this isn't the path anymore. There's something else. There's something new. There's something different. There's something more to be experienced. So while this can be super exciting, it can be equally terrifying. Why? Because as humans, we are wired for survival. We are wired to want to predict the future, to know that we are safe, which means we are going to seek out comfort over newness and novelty the majority of the time. And that's why we tend to default into a fight or flight response, or also the freeze response, as we talk about, because this is like a default safety mechanism. This is what is going to keep us alive. So as I say, as humans, we are wired to just stay alive, to stay safe. It is why we are wired to seek out partnership to procreate so that it keeps the species alive. And at our most basic functioning, we are wired to go to safety. Now, if we aren't safe in our current situation, the most primitive part of our brain will make an evaluation, and it will decide, should I run away? Is that the safest thing for me? Is that the smartest thing? Should I stay and fight? Will I win? Or should I freeze and play dead because I can't do either of the other options? So maybe if I freeze, they'll think I'm dead and then they'll leave me alone, and then I can run to safety. Now, all of this happens so fast. This is literally the most primitive part of our brain. So we're not even aware of it. We're not even aware of what we're going into. We're aware when we start to feel the anxiety, or we start to feel the adrenaline that has us wanting to do something. So when we start to dream bigger, when we start to pursue something greater than what we already have, what we currently have, and it's no surprise that the nervous system freaks out and, goes haywire. Many people will know that if you've wanted love, but you're not ready to receive it, your nervous system will have you in fear and anxiety as though that person is dangerous to you. The very job that you've wanted for years, you have an opportunity to have it, and the nervous system again goes into panic mode with thoughts like, but can I actually do it? Maybe I'm not good enough. So it will go into all of these ways that have you feeling so unsafe with progress, so unsafe at the idea of actually having the very thing that you really want and the very thing that is your next level in life. Talk about confusing, right? So freaking confusing. Because the problem is you've outgrown a part of your life. It's like trying to squeeze into those pair of jeans that are 2 sizes too small. You've been there, you've done that. Time to let them go. That old job, that passionless marriage, the watered down version of you, it just no longer fits. But just because it no longer fits, it doesn't mean that the path to becoming is going to be an easy one. It doesn't mean that there won't be challenges along the way. In fact, that's how you know you're on the path to becoming. Because when you have these challenges, it tells you you're doing something different. It tells you you're stepping out of the familiar, and that's why it's so uncomfortable, right? So not only are you stepping into unfamiliar territory, but you're also doing it while fighting against every part of you that's been programmed to stay safe, to stay small, and to stay predictable. And this is why I say time and time again to friends, clients, anybody who'll listen, the process of calling in the new, it is not pretty. Like, It is not polished. It is messy. It is raw. It is effing humbling. It is so humbling when you feel like you have everything sorted out and you think, yeah, I want more. That'd be so cool. It'd be so cool to start a podcast. It'd be so cool to start a business. Yeah, I want love. It sounds really cool, but then you're met with the deepest, darkest parts of you that are seemingly seeking to sabotage what you desire, to sabotage your progress, and to hold you in what's familiar. And it's friggin' painful. It's so painful. I say this as though it's a horrible thing, and it is, but let me also just reaffirm it is so worth it. Like, it is so worth it. But yes, it may mean letting go of people that you love. It might mean facing fears that you've buried, seeing some of the deepest, darkest parts of yourself that you didn't even know existed. It might require you to break down, to cry, to scream, to question everything, to question, why do I even want this? What's the purpose? It might involve purging old beliefs, not just in your mind, but also in your body. Because as we know, the body stores trauma, the body holds on to our experiences, particularly painful ones. So if we're wanting to step into a new version of ourselves, it also means letting go of anything that's stuck, that doesn't belong with the new identity. So like I say, the up level might involve some really deep somatic work where we have to move that stored energy, those beliefs, from our physical vessel, not just from the mind. But it's in this space, this in between, this sacred void, as we could consider it, because we're not in the new, but we've outgrown the old. So we're in this like weird void time. This is the time that I find my clients need me most, because it's like they know that where they're at isn't working for them, and they know that they want something more, and they can see the more, but they don't know how to get there. So it's almost like they need a midwife to move them across the bridge. And as I say that, like I just think of a number of my clients that have been brave and courageous and have been willing to take the hero's journey, because it really calls forward something deep in you that says, I'm willing to experience the discomfort in pursuit of the thing that I know is going to make me feel more fulfilled. It's going to bring me a sense of purpose. It is in alignment with my soul, with my destiny. So all of this pain, I'm willing to endure it so that I can get to what's beyond it. One of my beautiful clients, she was calling in divine partnership. She really wanted to have the experience of true, deep, fulfilling love. And she did it. She absolutely did it. She met a man who met every single one of her desires. And it was really interesting because then her nervous system just went into panic. And the fear of being abandoned started to bubble up to the surface, just as it does. And like I said, this can be really confusing because it's like, I want this. Why do I not feel good about the having of it? Does this mean it's the wrong person? Does it mean that I'm missing something? What does it mean? And so she started to then question, maybe he's not really that great. If I'm feeling this way, maybe he's not that great, even though he was showing up in all the ways, even though he's doing all the beautiful, magical things. And this is what the ego does. It tries to protect us from potential pain by sabotaging the very thing that we want, that we desire. Because like I said, its default is to have us feel safe. So something that's unfamiliar or something that has the capacity to cause emotional discomfort is unsafe to the nervous system. So that's where the up level often has to happen. Another one of my clients, like she had a deep desire to buy a home. She was like, yes, I'm ready to go that next level in life. And again, I love working with my clients on manifestation. It's so fun. And I've got to say, my clients are like the best manifestors, honestly. But anyway, so this one client, she wanted to manifest her ideal property. And she called in the money for the deposit. She called in the ideal place that she wanted to move into. But just before she went to make the offer, all of her unworthiness stories came up. All these stories, all these conditioned beliefs from childhood came up to the surface. And so, in order to allow her to feel worthy of buying a home, which she was in a position to do, we had to dissolve that old identity and to settle the nervous system so she could feel safe in taking that next step forwards. And for me, it's happened over and over and over again. I've lost count. Someone asked me the other day, how many ego deaths have you gone through? And I'm like, I could not tell you. So many, so many. One of them was creating this podcast. So after I recorded the very first episode, I felt so good. I was on such a high. I just felt so proud of myself for creating something that I had wanted to. And I can be like a bit of a perfectionist. And with that, it might mean that I avoid doing certain things if I can't make it perfect, or I like invest so much time in it that it kind of becomes not worth the effort. So I really had to work on releasing that. So releasing a podcast and a podcast episode where I knew it wasn't perfect. I knew that I could do so much better. I've seen people do better, but I chose to do it anyway because I knew that it was the next step in my own journey. This podcast is more meaningful to me than what you could understand. And so I knew that it needed to happen. So I was so proud of myself. It was like this massive personal win. But also in that is this knowing that I'm allowing myself to be seen in various platforms in ways that I haven't in the past. That means facing fears around judgment or rejection or even indifference, like people not even caring, not even like, showing up to watch the podcast, like being irrelevant. It's kind of one of the most painful things I think we can experience as humans. But putting that episode out, it cracked something open in me. And this was like simultaneous with a few other things taking place in my life. So it was like the perfect brew to have me really crack open and really have revealed anything that was keeping me stuck in an old identity, an old version. And so what followed was this 4-day deep purge. Honestly, my body, it literally just like shut down, and not with like illness or the flu or anything like that. It just shut down, and it was just wanting to purge. It was wanting to release anything that was not in alignment. And again, I had to do this both psychologically, spiritually, and also physically to allow the pain and the purging to take place through my body. So all I could do during that time was like the bare minimum, and I just slept. I slept for such a long time. But what came out the other side of it was just full liberation, like just this full feeling of like, who gives a F? Like, if people want to show up and watch my channel to criticize me, I just want to send them so much love. If people want to criticize something that I'm doing while I'm learning, I'm a novice, like, again, I just want to send them so much love. Like what you would be feeling in your body to project that level of criticism out, you just need love. So it was a really beautiful experience. And this isn't new for me. Ever since I've gone into the coaching world, when I launched my first group program, The Worthy Woman, I think it was 2020 or 2021, I was hit with challenge after challenge. It was honestly like the universe said to me, if you want to teach this, you better embody it first, biatch. Like, you need to be about it. So anywhere that I was lacking in what I was teaching my clients, Honestly, I had situation after situation that again called me forward into becoming the next version of me, a version that matched the talk. It was an up level to walk my talk essentially. And that's always the way it goes. Every program I've created, that like honestly the same thing has happened over and over again. Many times I have like been brought to my knees, and through that process it also brought me into my power, the deep power of knowing that my job here is not to give people what they want, it's to be in alignment with who I am. And the more that I do that, the more that aligned people can find me, the more that people who really resonate with my work, they'll be able to find me because they can resonate when I'm being real, when I'm being true, when I'm being authentic, right? When I've, done the work, I've learned the lessons, and therefore I can guide them through their own personal journeys. So this to me is the real edge of becoming. It's the space where the old no longer fits, but the new just isn't fully formed. And even though it's this weird space that we've got to kind of just nurture and nourish and hold, it's liminal, it's temporary, not going to last forever, but we do need to let it be there so that we can do the deep work required to become. And I absolutely love walking in this space with clients. Like, I love being able to hold them through all of the contractions that they experience throughout their growth. I love being able to remind them that the pain that they're experiencing, the challenges, are all part of getting them to the next level. One of my superpowers is to recognize patterns and how things kind of tie in. And I love being able to help people see that, because when they do, even though it's uncomfortable, we're lessening the discomfort. When we move into trust, when we move into surrender, and we move into just pure self-love through that process, it just makes it so much easier. So if you're going through anything like that, please feel free to reach out, because honestly, it's my jam. It's the thing that I love so much. And honestly, it's what I am here for. It's what I'm here on this earth for, is to midwife people through that weird void space. So just know, as you go through any challenges like this, whenever you're wanting something, every time you leap forward, just remember some part of you has to die. Some part of you has to be released. Some part of you has to be let go of, because what's coming in the future, it's not a match, right? Let's just look at, if you think about the teenage version of you, that version isn't aligned to the version of you that wants to go into some kind of professional career. So some part of you has to go, but some other part of you will be reborn. Now, your body won't always be on board, as I've mentioned. Like, it will resist, it will rebel, it'll try to hold on to what's known, what's familiar. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable with any movement, any change. But the universe, God, life, it hears you. And when you say you want the dream, when you say, I want that job, I want that love, the universe or God, whoever you want to see it as, essentially says, beautiful, amazing. Here's what needs to go. If you're wanting happiness and joy, but you're stuck in a job that's draining your soul, that might be taken away from you. So it might be seen as this really terrible, awful thing, but it's actually the universe saying, I'm going to take away your choice. That way you'll be forced to take action. In a relationship where your needs aren't being met, there might be tension that takes place, or some kind of blow up that might be the very catalyst that has you finally choosing yourself, or finally expressing your needs and asking for what you want. And if you've been letting money stop you from taking a leap, if there's a career change that needs to happen, but you're holding on to financial security, you might face a financial drought that forces you to unhook your worth from your bank balance so that you can actually live the life you were meant to live. Now, when we're in it, we often think that these are punishments. We tell ourselves stories. We tell ourselves that I'm having so much bad luck. God hates me. The universe is against me. But what if these difficult, painful experiences are part of the process? What if they are calling you forwards and having you go through a breakdown in order to have a breakthrough? The more that you can recognize this pattern, the more gracefully you can move through it with more ease, less suffering, less resistance, and more anticipation of what's to come on the other side. So let me ask you, where have you deeply desired something, but when you looked at your life, it was like the universe was giving you the opposite? It's like you were having the complete opposite experiences. You were wanting more money, yet money seemed to be going. You were wanting more love in your life, yet you were coming across like all the wrong people. Where in your life has it seemed like these things were, falling apart, not working out for you? But when you look at it, it was actually either creating space for something better or inviting you to step up so that you could then call in the very thing you desire. So just sit with that question and contemplate that. This is the edge. This is the work. This is where your future self is born. So thank you so much for being here today. I'd love to know what resonated with you. Please leave a comment, share your favorite takeaways, or feel free to DM me on Instagram, all of the social platforms. I really love hearing from you. And again, I'm so open to feedback. And if this episode gave you something, insight, hope, validation, please like and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel. And of course, share the love. If you've got friends, family, people who you know would benefit from hearing this content, please share it. Sending you big love, and I'll catch you on the next one.